we go. Hello and welcome to another Warcraft the audio commentary. Today, guys, we're going to be watching a wonderful best of 3 match from the HFAS Cup, which is the Have Fun All-Stars Cup. It's a Chinese Cup. It's best of 3. We watched it yesterday. We're going to watch it again today. The other big replays that are out right now are the WCA replays. I think it might be all of them. If there are some of those games that you would like to see me cast, leave a comment, let me know. I don't know when I'll do. I don't know if I'll do them tomorrow night. I might, but let me know in the comments below, because, or in the chat if you're on Twitch, because I don't want to cast games that you've already seen, and I don't know how many of the games Back to Warcraft people actually casted. So if there's a series in there that you're like, hey, this didn't get casted and I haven't seen it, you know, let me know, and well, you know, we can do it. Other than that, also very creepy Dave. He's not here tonight. I don't know where he went, so doing it without him. I don't know, maybe he'll come back soon. I have no idea. But there you go. Anyways, let's introduce our players. This map is the Shining Isles map, I believe is what it's called. Let's introduce them. In the upper right part of the map, we have the red human player. He's spawning in. He is going to be Yumiko. Boom, 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 boom. I don't know why I think that boom, boom, boom thing is going to ever be like dramatic, but it's like I imagine in my head like a big drum, like just a boom, boom, boom or something, but I can't. I'm not really that kind of person with my voice, so I can't really do it. In the lower left, we have to have the blue Night Elf spawning in. He's got Wisp moving across the map. He is Xixi, the Night Elf from China. And I believe, actually, they're both from China, but whatever. Words don't matter. Warden first going to be coming out as the play from Xixi here. He's got this Ancient War over here, so he's looking to get some creeps, potentially on this Enraged Elemental. He's guarding a mercenary camp. There's a peasant going to find out this information, good intel, and he's picking up the Mountain King first for Yumiko. So Mountain King versus Warden, it's a combination we don't actually see all that often, I would say. This might be the first time we've ever cast a Mountain King versus Warden. The map conditions really have to be just right, and I guess this map, which is insane, is just right. We've definitely cast this map before on the channel, but I don't remember. It was a while ago. I don't remember when it was. But anyway, yeah, it's got a great mercenary camp. You can pick that up. The creep is kind of difficult for human players. As you can see, it has those frost armors that just come from the Enraged Elemental, and it's kind of slows down their damages, their deeps a little bit. And yeah, so that's what's happening right there. Over here on the left side of the map, we can see the same kind of creep being crept out. It's a little bit easier, I would say, for the elf player just because the Ancient of War doesn't get slowed down by frost armor. But again, it's not like the frost armor deals damage. It just kind of makes you creep this out slower. So the tankier you are, the easier this is. And again, obviously the Ancient of War is very tanky. It doesn't really have any, unless it gets harassed, it shouldn't die at all. So down here you can see he is getting a couple extra wisps right now at this point in the game. I'm not sure if he's overmaking them. He's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm trying to count. 6, 7, 8 wisps. 8 wisps. Okay, I mean that's fine. He's doing the double Ancient War creep, so as you can see, he's creeping out the screen. It's going to finish around the time. He's going to finish that camp creep around the time this guy is uprooted. Then he can kind of uproot this and then eat a tree and then bring an archer over here to pull the camp, which is this guy right here. Kind of a scary looking camp. It doesn't have poison, which I think is what you traditionally see. No, that's not even true. You don't even traditionally. This is weird. This is a mashup. Normally, you might see the Forest Troll Warlord and 2 Forest Troll Trappers, maybe in Dota. I don't know if I don't think there's Trappers in Dota. Yeah, in Dota it's weird because then it's the big guy actually has the ensnare, and he also has raised skeletons. It's a weird game, Dota. I don't know why we're talking about it. But anyway, so you can see he's going to get level 3 pretty easily. Down here, we're going to see that Yumiko is going for level 3 as well. This time, he's going to be picking up level 3 on the expansion creep out. He's the creep out? The creep out. The creep out, because it's the creepy month of October. Yeah, I won't do that again. So we have these police people. I don't know what police. The militia, the peasants. He's only got 4 right there. He probably will bring another one eventually down there, potentially, because generally you want 5 to build your town hall to get an expansion, and he's going to come right across the map, going to cast a dust just at the edge of the range of that Warden. He is not messing around. He's gone for the bolt already. He's going to force a TP from Xixi. That's insanity. He's going to kill this Ancient of War, takes it down, says you don't need this guy. This guy over here, I think he was coming up this way to try to creep that, but now he's moving away because he realizes, oh, I don't necessarily have map control, and it would be all too easy for this creep right here to take this Ancient War out. So we don't want to have it too close over there. And I don't really need level 3 or more XP right now because I'm level 3 already, so it's fine to wait a little bit. He knows there's not enough mana for a bolt, so he's trying to play a little bit aggressively here, but he does have to be careful because that bolt mana is coming. If he picked up skilled Blink, then he can actually start dodging bolts. And in fact, he did pick up Blink. He saw the Mountain King raise his hammer, and he was like, I ain't messing around with this. I'm blinking out of here. Obviously, you can dodge bolts with Blink, so always a fantastic thing to have. It's good to do if you can blink dodge things. Clarity going off on the Mountain King. They got that Arcane Vault up pretty quickly. The towers went up first in the Arcane Vault, and then finally the Town Hall will go. Here comes 2 more peasants, because he's got 4. He just might as well have 2 more. 1 can mine wood, 5 can mine the gold. And it's a pretty efficient way to do it. There's not a whole lot of wood here, but there's enough. You can have 1 guy do it, it's no big deal. Clarity going to be used to smack a rack that Warden right in the face. He's going to have that clarity canceled, and he's also going to take a Shadow Strike, and he's going to start taking some damage himself, and he's going to TP right on out. He does not even want to mess with that. I don't know. Well, he TP it out with a Staff Teleportation, not a Scroll. Big difference there. One takes 5 seconds. The Scroll Teleportation takes 5 seconds to TP out, and the Staff Teleportation takes 3 seconds to TP out. So that's good knowledge to have. Maybe 3.5. I think it's 3 seconds anyway. Probably is. Tree of Life going up for Xixi here. He's just getting that expansion. Because he's getting it here, it's kind of an interesting spot. He can move it down here if he would like to. Alternatively, he can put it up here as well. So he's got 2 options, and right here is a little bit of a riskier place. If he doesn't have map control, if he can't fight, putting it here, it's going to be hard to defend. Yeah, it's on a hill, but this hill, I don't believe, is the kind of hill that actually... before I say that, never mind, it is. Okay, it doesn't look like it because you can't see, but it actually is the kind that if you're standing here and you're down here and you shoot up, then you have your miss chance. You can't tell that because it's been smoothed out, which is a little bit annoying to see. But on this side, you can see that it actually is in fact raised ground. Because you can actually make hills in Warcraft that don't do that. I don't think they have any real place in Warcraft melee matches, but they do exist, so on some maps. So always good just to look. Anyway, so yeah, Mountain King is being chased down right now. He's kind of been turned into the other way around, so we might even see an aggressive elf expansion here. Gonna see a bunch of damage on that Warden as he lost all of his mana right there, and in fact that is a potion of invulnerability that's been popped by the Mountain King, the 15-second kind, not the lesser the kind that he got from a creep. Kind of sucks that he had to go ahead and pop that already, because that's something that can be really useful against the focus fire later on. Also, we're seeing a Demon Hunter as the second pickup hero for the elf player. Now, this is a pretty odd scenario. You don't tend to see the Warden and the Demon Hunter played together because they're both heroes that are very good, actually. Why don't you see this more often? I don't know. I would say... I have no idea. I guess in general you want the Panda as your second hero with the Warden, because if you decide you need to have AoE heavy play, then you have Fan of Knives, you have Breath of Fire, so you can like just obliterate anything that's AoE. I think I can see the rationale behind getting the Demon Hunter, because the Demon Hunter can just sit there and mana burn the crap out of the Mountain King once he hits level 3 really easily. Hits 100 mana damage burns. Pretty good. Yeah, but this is a pretty... I mean, just there's nothing wrong with this at all. Especially because... Demon Hunter is very difficult to kill no matter what. I mean, he's just... well, at level 1 he's not quite because he doesn't have evasion yet, but you get evasion. I mean, picking him as the second hero is not bad. They both kind of demand XP, but then again, so does the Panda. The Panda definitely demands XP, and they're creeping together. I don't know. I think this could work out pretty well. I'm actually not really sure why we don't see more of that. I mean, I guess it's just because the Panda is so good, and it's so versatile, but again, I don't know. Someone asked just real quick in chat if this is live. This is cast from replay. So this game was played a couple days ago. I think exactly two days ago. Anyway, so Yumiko has filled up a Zeppelin full of units here. He's going to move that around here. Going to go ahead and kill a bunch of these Wisps right before the Entangled Goldmine goes up. And he might even go ahead and try to get the cancel on this Entangled Goldmine. Well, not a cancel, but actually just straight up killing it. And in fact, it looks like he's going to be able to kill it. So that's a little unfortunate for him. We do have that Hippogriff coming in. He wants to kill the Zeppelin with the Hippogriff, but it's being focused down. And it's taking bolts, so he has to actually pick it up. But here we go. It's actually going to be in a position where they do actually manage to kill that Hippogriff. Just playing as risky as he can. Could pick up that Footman. Doesn't really care to. Wants to take as little damage on this Zeppelin as is possible. They got a Dryad over here chasing it down as well. He's going to be running that across the trees as he runs down away and away, up and away and over the trees. Reminds me of My Little Inferno. It's a fun game. If you've never played it, you should. I think it's like $10. It is so worth it, like easily. Also, that Shredder's gonna get dropped and kills a Wisp. Shredder does a ridiculous amount of damage. In terms of Wisp harass, he has the chance, I believe, to one-shot a Wisp because he does high end of 61 damage. Not one shot, two shot is what I meant to say. Yeah, one shot's a Wisp. No, the two shots a Wisp because he can do up to 61 damage, and if he gets 60 and then 61, or 60 and 60, or 61 and 61, whatever, then he kills it because he doesn't have any armor. So no damage reduction. So it's kind of rare. Usually it's going to three-shot the Wisp, but it can. Anyway, so back to the game. Sorry about that pause. I was reading the chat, and I'll actually answer. He says, I have 0% drop frames right now, so it should be solid. I don't know. But anyway, so actually, I think I might have just paused the game because I clicked out for just a second as well. So that all happened, and I apologize. I'm usually distracted. I try not to be too distracted. But anyway, back to the game. Back to the game, darn it. Deckard Cain's coming out of me. I don't even know what that's all about. So anyway, so we have the Mountain King down here. He's chilling out. He's got the mercenary camp. He's saying, what's going on at the mercenary camp? Not much, but he can pick up mercenaries if he would like to. We have the Archmage down here as well. Archmage is coming up behind, saying, I'm going to do some wonderful Archmage-y stuff. Archmage is a good second hero for the Mountain King. It's not the Blood Mage or the Paladin I thought we would see. I think Archmage is an okay play. It's good against Elf. But because this is kind of a weird play from the Elf player, because he's gone Warden and then Demon Hunter, I don't know. It is a weird play. It really is. Whenever you go Warden Demon Hunter, you're kind of saying, whatever. I'll just do whatever I want. I'll just kill everything with my heroes, and I don't really care. Which is an interesting thing because we've seen before. We've seen this matchup several times now, and we've seen it in the standard where the human player goes for the rifle, or not really the rifles, but sometimes the rifle, the caster mortar strategy, basically with some spellbreakers or knights or whatever in the front, and then they play a positional strategy where they try to defend a towered position, create choke points, and then stay behind it and defend that, and then they can use that to kind of creep out and be assaultive, and that's what we're going to see here again. And we've seen Mountain King into Archmage before with this strategy because obviously it works pretty well and it gives you the potential for a Blizzard if you decide that, hey, I really need Blizzard. Otherwise you have Water Elementals, which are also really good. All these things are good. We're going to actually see some militia coming out, so this looks like Yumiko wants to do some damage here, and he's planning on it because he's got these militia, and he wants those either to stay and fight if he can, or he can use them to build more towers, whichever he decides to do. But he doesn't want to fight out of position, so he's going to kind of stay right here, right where he's in basically a point where it's kind of a choky point. You can see if there are choke points kind of all around, and then there's this weird opening area. So it's a defendable position that he has. It's fairly far away from this, but he's going to kind of tower crawl his way over. And we're going to see what the elf response is going to be as he comes over here. He says, I'm just going to creep. He says, I don't even care that you're going for that right now. I'm just going to go for the creep because there's nothing wrong with creeping right now. You aren't doing any damage. You're just kind of sitting there waiting, and I'll just kind of try to delay you a bit with my fairy dragon over here. You're going to see a flying machine come out as well. There is a hippogriff already kind of ready to take out, it can take out several flying machines, honestly. Griffins are really good against just a couple of flying machines. And flying machines just aren't that great until you have a fair number of them. And so it's kind of a heavy investment for the human player who's trying to go for a really big ground army that can kind of survive for a long time and build these towers to also fit in a bunch of flying machines. You have to have a few of them, and they're really good if you have a few just against fairy dragons. But adding in just even one hippogriff can really throw that equation off. So we're going to see how that works out. Demon Hunter, also a fantastic... this is going to work out really well, I think, for the elf player. I mean, I don't know, but I don't think this is going to be a push that kills him. And even if... well, it's not going to kill him, definitely. But this could be the sort of thing where the elf has to abandon the space in favor of the one up here. If that happens, he does have Nature's Blessing, so he can move his heroes away kind of fast, or rather his Tree of Life expansion kind of fast. And this is actually a pretty rough situation. And you can actually see those misses, so it's indeed kind of confirmation that it's the type of ramp that you actually lose damage or whatever that you lose you get a mischance on. But the mortar team down there just kind of focusing on that, and Goldmine going to force the fight. Here comes that Warden. He's very close to level 5. He's already getting an anti-magic shell potion just in here. Make sure you can't get bolted. That Warden is going to do a lot of work, and if he decides to have Fan of Knives right now, I don't know if he switched to the tech or not. He's using Shadow Strike right now quite effectively just to focus units down. That's also perfectly reasonable. But there's a lot of options here what he can do, and he's actually going to be forcing this right back into those towers. But that's sort of the thing the human has planned for. That's why his towers are all spread out like this, so that he can just run back behind them. And he says, if you want to keep chasing me, you want to keep fighting me, even if you're winning the fight, you have to do it inside the range of like 5 towers, which is an insane amount of damage. I don't know the exact DPS number on these guard towers, but you can see they attack more than once a second. And they do 23 to 27 damage, so I would say it's around 40 to 44, 45 damage per second, something like that. So it's pretty high for 5 of them. You can just kind of imagine the DPS output that is. It's not a huge deal against buildings because they have fortified armor and 7 armor on this Ancient of War, which is actually just insane how tanky that guy is. 1,000 life, 7 fortified armor, but it will still go down to damage. There's absolutely no denying that. But piercing damage, not really great against fortified at all. I think it's reduced down to 35% damage when piercing hits fortified. So 35% of, let's say, 45 DPS. 35%. I don't know, but it's a pretty big reduction. Because you're basically taking out 2/3 of the damage, which is significant, to say the least. It's significant. It would reduce it by like 26 or 30 DPS, something in that range. So, but that's kind of what I don't know why I'm trying. I'd told myself long ago I would never do math when I'm casting because it just doesn't work. At least it doesn't work for me. I can't do it. But anyway, so back to this game. Yeah, we can see the human player. He's chilling out. He's like, well, I'm just gonna make more towers. I killed the Ancient of War, whatever. Chilling out. I've got some more flying machines. I don't care, and I'm gonna start investing heavily in Spellbreakers. The Spellbreakers are really a good unit for keeping the mana down on all of these units. It means that if the elf player is in that position where, okay, well, I've lost a whole bunch of my unit. Well, I haven't lost a bunch of my units, but they're all very low on life. They're red HP, etc. Then they have no mana. They can't actually heal up. Anyway, so the bolt immediately on the level 5 Warden at this point, level 3 on the Demon Hunter. They're going to go for this push right now while those 2 towers are trying to finish, trying to save the Tree of Life right now. He's going to go ahead and start going for the bigger push. That Ogre Mauler from Yumiko is going to go down. It was the point of focus fire for that Warden, as well as a couple of those units in the back of the Dryads, just making sure they can do some mad damage. But this is an Entangled Goldmine that's going to go down, as well as this Tree of Life at some point, so he's needing to uproot that, potentially. Doesn't want to do that just yet. And not when that entire army can sit there and focus it, but he needs to get it out of position here. So ideally he can retreat it and save it and move it to another position. But these 2 Moonwells are going to go down. He's not even going to try to defend that. He maybe could have, but I guess he was afraid that he would have not taken a well fight there. I don't know. I think I don't know. I'm not going to judge him. But it's a fast unit once it has the Nature's Blessing upgrade. So yeah, there you go. Yumiko is going to take this position, and he's just going to put down an Arcane Vault. Probably going to put down his own Town Hall right here. Maybe 1 or 2 more towers on that end, and then that is a position that's pretty deep down. But more important than that, that actually cuts xixi off from this base up here, because you can just put a couple towers right here, and then for xixi to actually break through that position is going to be really difficult, especially if he wants to try to take this expansion, which means realistically xixi only has this option for an expansion, which he's kind of been preparing for. He has a Tree of Life right here, but he is going to be down on supply, or rather on income. We can see his supply-wise, he's at 67 food. He might lose a couple of these wisps because he's not microing them at all, because he's busy over here creeping. So, kind of and microing this Warden over here, getting a couple, actually getting quite a few kills. I'm not gonna lie, that is pretty fantastic for him to get that many kills. But he is trading economy for an altar, which a couple wisps. I mean, that's a pretty reasonable trade that xixi just made there. He's got plenty of wood. He didn't need to lose those wisps by any means, by any stretch of the imagination. So I don't want to say it was a trade, because it wasn't really. It was just. See, he's going to lose another one. He's feeding XP. He really shouldn't do that. He could at least detonate them and burn the mana. Really could do at least those things. But whatever. Meanwhile, that Yumiko's been kind of preoccupied. He's got some more peasants back in there. He is building that town hall. This expansion has gone up. So it's just a matter of time now before We're going to see xixi mining off that base as well as this one here in just a couple of minutes. And then this position is a little bit easier to defend, I think, for Yumiko, or for xixi, because of the fact that it's kind of an open area. It is, again, there's a choke point here, but there's only, this whole thing's a choke point, I guess it just depends on whether Yumiko decides, because he could put some towers right here, and that would be really difficult to deal with. And then some towers right here, kind of like in a line, and then that would be pretty difficult to deal with. You kind of get through this little choke point, and then, oh look, more choke point, more towers. So that's an issue, potentially. Warden is over here, using the anti-magic shell, really smart, because it means that you don't really have to worry about that arcane tower in the least, but as you can see, not losing any mana from it. I don't think he's even taking damage from it, so pretty fantastic. It will attack, even though it does piercing damage. It might be doing damage. I don't know. It's so little damage from those things if they're not doing mana burn, though. So it's like, it's pretty negligible. But the way he's playing, he could really use a second shop because the first one died. So he's going to get that. And getting the shop out is really effective in this situation because, again, you need those anti-magic shell potions, not only for that harass, which the harass was pretty good. But you need it for fighting that Mountain King who just does a lot of damage, because that's a Mountain King first play. You know, he's going to be high level. A lot of times you'll see this is the position where the Archmage is like level 5 and then the Mountain King's like level 1. In that case, having the anti-magic shell, it's nice, but it's not as big of a deal. But again, it also keeps you immune to the Spellbreaker's feedback. So just all of the front stuff, let your hero go right in the front line, do a whole bunch of impact right at the start of the fight, back out, having spent all of their mana pretty much, and then going back into the fight. And it just makes that your use of the hero incredibly much more effective. Obviously, though, this is counterable just by dispelling it. You can just dispel it, and he does have Preset or Adept, so it's a reasonable thing. I don't know what he's doing with this Warden. Could have easily killed that guy, but I guess he's down here too busy trying to micro this army. Because that was a position where Yumiko was slightly too extended, and he's going to take some losses for it. Not too bad, though. We have seen the transition over to Blink and Fan of Knives, which is pretty useful to have it. It's great against those casters. It allows you to kind of blink into the back. Fan of Knife everything. It kills mortar teams pretty well. It kills casters pretty well. It kills all the stuff in the back. And Fan of Knives, I think, is a really effective counter to this army. So we're definitely going to have to see Yumiko making good use of the gold mines that he has right now. And also keep in mind, he's been losing quite a bit of that income because of that Warden harass, and that Warden has been gaining quite a bit of experience, so he's getting close to level 6. Once he gets level 6, obviously he's going to have the Avatar of Vengeance, which is a ridiculously good thing at breaking these kind of lines. Warden, just fantastic. If you give him some kind of a fight where he has a bunch of skeletons. Also, this Archmage is in a seriously bad spot going to that shop, but he was able to still pick up 2 Scroll of Healings as well as a Scroll of Town Portal. He will, however, have to use that portal. But again, since he's on 3 gold mines right now, it's probably not that big of a deal that he had to waste the Town Portal. I mean, because he's at such an economic advantage, it's probably not that big of a deal. I mean, he's at 78 food with almost 1,000 gold. I mean, that is a pretty supreme position to be in. Whereas, though, xixi actually in the same spot. So despite the fact that Yumiko has the kind of gold advantage, he's been able, we're seeing xixi actually able to kind of equalize that a little bit. Naturally, that's partially because there are just 6,000 towers on this map at this point. But that Warden, he does not care. He is going for that level 6, and here it comes. It's not going to happen from these guys right yet, but it could potentially happen. One more Fan of Knives could kill all of those if it was positioned slightly better. But whatever, then he would have lost some damage output over here. And as he goes for those buildings, we're going to see this is in fact a double-fronted attack. Xixi's coming for the army as well. The Demon Hunter is going to take a few bits of hits here, and he's going to have to be retreating. But that's not a big deal. That Warden is actually taking a lot of damage from those towers, down to 94 life. But again, doesn't matter. You can drop the Robe of Magi, use a couple of Moonwells, and heal all the way back up. Not a big deal at all for him. He does not mind it. He does not care. And let's look at the upgrades. 2-2 for xixi, which is a fantastic position to be in. And Yumiko is sitting at, well, I can't really, 0-2. I was like trying to find the Spellbreaker. I was clicking like a madman. 0-2 with no masonry upgrades on those towers. 1 attack upgrade on the mortar teams, an adept on the priests as well as the sorceresses, which is nice. But again, xixi clearly has better upgrades. Here comes that blink right into the middle of the fray. He's going to be amazing. Look at that. He's going to pop that anti-magic shell as the bolt lands, so he lets it dodge it, and he can just stand back here. We're going to see finally the dispel on the anti-magic shell. Going to pop the potion of lesser invulnerability. Another Fan of Knives coming off. We're going to see the healing scroll go off for Yumiko, keeping those casters back up to full life. Very important. But at this position, we can just see xixi just deciding, well, okay, I broke that line. I haven't really lost anything if he staffs that bear, which he's going to. Look at that beautiful play. He cost 250 gold over to Yumiko's side, popping the scroll of healing, and this is the sort of position that really what it cost Xixi was the potion of lesser invulnerability, and it cost him the anti-magic shell, and it also cost 2 towers for Yumiko. It cost him position, and position is worth every little bit of economy he can get, and so here we can start seeing this as a fight again. Those scroll of healings are absolutely showing how good they were and how well worth they was coming over here and using that TP, even if you had to, just because that scroll of healing actually is going to keep those casters alive. So we can kind of get an idea of the general pace of these fights now. We're going to see the Warden is going to want to blink into the back. He's going to get a Fan of Knives off, and then a second Fan of Knives off, and then we're going to see Yumiko try to cast a scroll of healing, try to keep things alive as much as he can. So that's the first Fan of Knives. If he can actually just not have to deal with the second Fan of Knives, he can just kind of heal up with the priest that he has back there, and that'll kind of deal. It'll be okay, but the problem is if the Warden comes back before those priests are able to heal him back up, then again, we're going to see another kind of similar situation where he's having to use more scrolls of healing here. We're going to see a Fan of Knives picking off a Shadow Priest from the mercenary camp. Words. And level 6 fighting picked up on the Warden. Again, this has not been harassed whatsoever by the human player. This would be a really decent time just to build one single tank and send it down there. One tank down there is going to be a big kind of thorn for Xixi to deal with right now, because he doesn't have anything to deal with that. He would probably have to respond by putting up 1 or 2 Ancients of War. He'd have to maybe send some units over there, maybe some Wisp to try to repair things. It would be a big strain on him, on his ability, I would say, not necessarily to break these lines, because we've seen really the Warden can do that by himself, and then the bears are just something that kind of reinforces it and takes out the towers. Going to see a wonderful kill on one of those mortar teams. Here comes that mana burn being incredibly useful already off the bat. I believe it hit the Mountain King. The Mountain King does not have enough mana at this point for a mana bolt, and he's not buying items for mana. We're going to see another mortar team go down. Here comes that scroll of healing, and Xixi, as he picks off units and makes everything be low on life, it makes it very difficult for Yumiko to keep these units alive. This could be the way to play as an elf player from now on against this kind of strategy, because we haven't seen anyone breaking these lines the way that this Warden and Demon Hunter combo is doing right now. The Demon Hunter, he's going to be level 5 now. And the other thing is there's so much XP going off on these heroes. If he gets level 6 on that on the Demon Hunter and level 6 on the Warden, which he has level 6 already on the Warden, he's going to be able to come in here and just destroy these armies. Metamorphosis, AoEs, everything down. Phantom Knives, AoEs, everything down. And we're going to have to see Yumiko transition out of this army if he wants to stay in the game. The problem is, he's so invested in this army at this point, and it's clearly not really going to work. And here comes those Spirits of Vengeances at this point, just to go ahead, and they're going to probably most likely focus on these mortar teams, actually, or they're not really focused. There they go. Nope, just not focusing on anything. Just kind of attack moved in there, and that's fine. You can do that too. But yeah, it looks like there's nothing the human player can do, and with this army, I don't think there is. I think if you see that kind of a hero composition as the human player, I honestly think maybe you just need to go for a different army composition. And there are other army compositions you can go. This is just the one that we always see because it's just so effective. It is so effective. But versus this hero choice, and this may be map dependent. I'm not claiming to be a good elf player, the likes of Xixi or anything, because I don't know. But it will be interesting to see, because we're going to see another map, definitely at least a game 2. And so if Xixi goes this composition again on another map, then maybe it's not quite so map dependent. Obviously, lots of map has a lot of variables, but this is a map where the game went really well for Yumiko. He got an expansion, you know. He got a second expansion. You know, he stopped one of Xixi's expansions, and Xixi still is just looking unstoppable. So, I don't know. Yumiko's still just trying to he's not going to be nearly as aggressive this time. He's not going to have one tower here, one tower there, one tower over there. He's like, okay, I need more towers in one position. The problem is that these towers, they're not doing anything at all against this army that the elf player has. Not really. The problem is you have a big line of bears that they're not tanking those spellbreakers. Eventually, as we can see, they are actually getting to the point where what's the point where they're low on mana, right? And we can see that as we click through them. Everything's around 100 mana, and So they can come back, they can rejuvenate, you know, they can heal up if they're not taking damage from those spell breakers. So yeah, they take a lot of damage from the towers, but as long as they're microed correctly, they're microed back, and they're not going to be dying to towers. Towers don't do enough DPS quickly enough to kill them. And here you go again, xixi going to break the lines once more as those towers finish, and we're seeing those towers, they are providing a good choke point. That is at least the case, as we can see several bits of these units here just kind of not able to get into the back. The Warden play is still going to be very aggressive at this point. He's actually going to get right into the thick of it. The Archmage is in a seriously bad position. He's gonna have to run. He can't attack. This entire army from the human player wasn't able to attack. It couldn't do anything at all right there, as it had to retreat. It was just running away and lost all of those units that it lost basically for free. 63 supply on the human player, which is absolutely insane. 79 supply on Yumiko, or I'm sorry, on xixi. So that is a huge deficit to be on. And these little spirits of vengeance going for those mortar teams, there's nothing you can do. You can pick them up. You can pick up the mortar teams and the Zeppelin if you micro it correctly. But that's just about all you can do against these guys. These are invulnerable. You just have to wait it out and try to heal everything up and keep it so you micro well so you don't lose those units. And here comes another push. And again, this Demon Hunter ever so slightly just getting closer and closer to level 6. In fact, Yumiko's not even going to take another fight. He just says, okay, there's nothing I can do. Good game. And there you go. Good game. Well played. Yumiko versus xixi, and xixi just completely dominated the matchup. He said, you know what? I know how you play, and I'm going to counter it with something that's kind of unorthodox. Warden and then Demon Hunter, and it's going to be very effective, and it was very effective. Even though in the mid game, I would say xixi was kind of in that same position that you always see elves in, where they're like, okay, I'm kind of not able to fight you right now. Usually we see the elves, I think, put up a bit of a better fight, maybe? But to be honest, xixi wasn't even interested in those towers. He didn't even care. He was creeping. He was saying, I'm going to creep instead. And it worked out really well. He crept instead, he lost the expansion, and then he put up another one. Maybe Yumiko should have taken that map control and that map advantage and immediately shut down that second expansion that was going up, because maybe he could have. Maybe he should have anticipated that a little better and had some towers down there, because he already locked xixi off from the top part of the map, which was the other expansion. So I don't know, but we're definitely going to see game 2, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen in that. That was game number 1. Thanks for watching. That was HFAS Cup. This is live at twitch.tv/PureV. Well, live at twitch.tv. It's a cast from replay, but it's at twitch.tv/PureV or youtube.com/SirPureV. Well, it's twitch.tv/PureV, youtube.com/PureV. Whatever. You know what the links are. Anyway, so thanks everyone for watching. We're going to go to break, and I'll be back in just a minute.